Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to Trip Talks. This is the show where I interview successful e commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today I'm really excited to welcome Roberta Perry to the show. Roberta is the founder and president of Scrubs Body skincare products. Scrubs Body is a skincare brand that utilizes 100% active ingredients in its products. And ScrubzBody sells pampering and sells love. It just happens to come in jars and bottles. And we're going to learn more about that in a second. And today I'm going to ask Roberta a few questions about her entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that she has used to start and grow her business. So thank you so much for joining me today at Tripus, Roberta. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
So yeah, let's start off with your story, with your entrepreneurial story. When did you start this business? How did you come up with the idea, and what really motivated you to create a skincare brand?
It goes back before that in that my background from college, et cetera, was graphic design. So I kind of had that little background. And then one of those clients, I started some other business that failed, but I kind of learned how to do a little website and a little marketing. And so I was picking up other skills at that point, but everything I could sort of do from home. And then when my kids were young, I was selling telecom because, I fell into that through a friend of mine. And so I got, some sales skills. So all these three things without realizing it was the foundation for when I was sitting in a business meeting and I started just scratch my elbow and all of a sudden my fingers had blood on them. And I'm like, had scratched, it was so dry that I'm like bleeding on my papers and I was so embarrassed. So I left that meeting and I went into a skincare store and I was introduced to something greater than a lotion was a scrub. Without thinking it was a salt scrub. So I brought it home and I'm washing and I'm like, ooh, that feels pretty good. And then it got into my cut and my eyes started tearing because obviously when you get salt in a cut. So I then was on a quest for products that I felt, that I liked. On the other parts of me that didn't have cut, but I was like, I knew I needed to stay away from them. And at one point I probably had 20 jars around me and I was like, I might as well just create my own. So started doing that. And my late sister, Michelle, had some retail background. So she said, why don't we jar it up and we can sell it at crafts fairs and things like that. And so all of a sudden the skills that I had prior was like, oh, wait a minute. I remembered that I could set up a website and wait a minute, I can design my brochures and I'm not afraid to talk to people and pick up the phone. And so everything that I had, and just in my, working by myself freelance journey while I was raising my three kids, found their way very perfectly into this sort of entrepreneurial journey when I started ScrubzBody. So, getting us out there was very much a hands-on, scraping by, winging a prayer at a dime kind of thing. But it was also, oh, I recognize you. Like I was in Las Vegas in the casino at 9 a.m. because it was too hot out. And it was the owner of a chain of hair salons on Long Island where I live. And, he was looking at me and I was like, oh, I saw your picture in, the one in the town near me. And by the way, I've got this product that I just said. And, so it was this really kind of cool, synergistic. So that brought me there. And then I was demonstrating for them and I created certain scents for them. And then we did something for a fundraiser and I got into the local newspaper that I created a signature scent that was going to donate to Komen NYC, breast cancer. And so then the sister of the person who wrote the article happens to be the buyer of a local chain of stores. And so it was just this really, so it was a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of 15-hour days, but it was so much love, love and luck and pieces fitting together, mentoring, I'm a big believer in mentors and people giving great advice who've been around. So that's it. It was still 16 and a half years later. I'm like, what? I started a business, So that was really my journey was like, how can I take it from there?
I mean, a lot of people say, entrepreneurs are born or, entrepreneurs are made. To me, it seems like the way you're describing is almost like, you're kind of your own made entrepreneur. But then I think, if you were doing freelance even before that, then you had a bit of an entrepreneurial bug in you to begin with. All you had to do is kind of like, realize that you are an
Totally.
entrepreneur. Um, so can you share a little bit about your products? What is unique about your skincare products? And, because skincare, there's like so many products out there. How do you, like, what is the benefit out of people using your product to get out of it?
So what started with the scrub, which I have said many times and I'll say it forever. If I'm stranded on a desert island and I can only bring one of my products, it will always be the scrub. Because what I realized, back, 17 years ago and to this minute when I get in the shower and I still get excited about using it, is that by polishing your skin, you are continually regenerating the skin cells. Without going into the science of it, et cetera, it's as simple as that. It's like unzipping the dead stuff, stepping out fresh. So there's many of those on the market. There's chemical peels and retin-A's and brushes and buzzy things and all sorts of stuff. But in all the years I was researching and using products even prior to creating this, was that sugar. It's stable. It won't burn. It won't irritate if you get it in a cut. It's a humectant which draws water to it. When you melt it, it releases traces of glycolic acid, like in the retin-A. So I was like, whoa! So it's not just a cool chemical exfoliant. It's great. So put that together with natural botanical oils that are similar to skin, and all of a sudden, in an easy package, like I would say, Mother Nature made my recipe, but I was happy enough to put it in a jar. You're allowing yourself to, instead of bubbling up, and great soap is still great soap, and you can use this once a week, twice a week, is what I recommend. You can use it every day, but once or twice a week is perfect. On those days when you're regenerating your skin cells, all the other days when you're using other products, they're being put on better skin. So there's no magic here. There's no rocket science. Exfoliation is the single greatest thing you can do to your skin in addition to drinking the right amount of water and eating healthy, good food, getting right amount of sleep, all those things I can't do for anybody. I tell them, I'm like, I could give you the products, but I can't do the other stuff. Stress, relaxation, meditation, all those things will just calm you and make everything else work better, keeping collagen up. All those other things are absolutely important. But when it comes down to just good basic skincare, every product is going to work better on skin that's been polished. And so that's sort of the number one on my line. And when people do it, and it goes back to the tagline you and I discussed, is, a quick shower. All right, I'm in a rush. I'm going. I have to do this. But when it's scrub day, you're like, oh, I'm taking an extra minute. I'm worth it. So it's allowing yourself to pamper your skin, to enjoy that moment in the shower where you can exhale and just love on yourself a little bit more, pamper yourself a little bit more, and then be, cleansed, polished, and moisturized in one step. So that it all started with that. And then we kind of branched off into, okay, well, there's some people that might just want a foot scrub and, a hand scrub. So we whipped it with shea butter. And then someone like me who goes right back to the computer is sometimes it was almost too creamy. So we created something with our soap maker, Angela of Alegna Soaps. We added soap to a scrub and we created Scrubbles. And then a customer came in and said, I love your oil spray, but I want more of a lotion. So we took her advice and, all right, we do need a lotion. And so most of my products were born from necessity, from clients solving their problems. Most of them are all sort of based around the same principle. And so in some ways you could get everything, I should say the benefit almost of every one of our products in 2 or 3 products. But some people really do. They want a whole gift set or they want just something very specific. So we cater to that need. But personally, I'm the face oils to take off my makeup, the scrubs to wash my whole body, and the, bye-bye bags at night as my under eye and face cream. I personally could use 2 or 3 products but I love that people like everything else, So it's really comes down to just, like I said, self-love and allowing yourself to use a better product, allowing yourself to take an extra 5 minutes.
And are these products more geared towards women? Or I mean, I guess men are beginning to use some of these kind of products also. I mean, recently I think I was on TikTok and I saw this ad with Brad Pitt in that. I don't know if
Mhm.
you came across that, but yeah, I think he
He
has
has
created
his
like
own
a
line of
yeah,
skincare now.
and he was like going through like this ad where he was saying, in the morning I wake up, I do this and that. It felt a little bit weird to me, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 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 yeah.
how do you like, is your target market really women, or like do you also see men using these kind of products?
That's such a great question. Because when we first started, like I said, I'm like truly the accidental entrepreneur. It was, wow, hey, great. Everybody has skin. Cool. Let's market to everybody. And I'm sure as doing this many years, that fell flat on its face. Because you have to hone in to who you're talking to. Niche your niche. So what we realized is that when I kind of created my avatar of who is my ideal customer, absolutely, it is women. It is between 45 and 65, college, but so I kind of have that person. I named her Lisa, actually based on
Hmm.
the woman that asked me to make the lotion for her. However, my late sister came up with the idea of make your own scrubs parties. We do
Hmm.
them in our shop and we mail out boxes, filled with all the stuff for people to do. Well, hello, that's hitting a target of, 8 to whatever age. And
Hmm.
then we created shaves and shaves oils for beards. So then we hit the male target.
Hmm.
So what's really nice is that I only kind of speak to this amount in my marketing techniques and sort of my language, but they're married or they have boyfriends or partners, and
Hmm.
they have kids, so the spectrum has widened by allowing that. So my joke when a guy comes in and grabs, whether it's our shaves or even just another, like my husband doesn't like the scent of like aftershave, he likes the cherry almond or the coconut, so
Hmm.
he's going to take the standard scrub and not the men's shaves, because the shaves
Hmm.
one is more of an aftershave kind of a smell.
Hmm.
So, but they'll come up and they'll slam it on the counter, and I ring them up, and they're out of here in 30 seconds to a minute and a half, And so they're their worst. They are my worst first customer, because they don't want to hear it. No, leave me alone. That's my. But as soon as they recognize the fact that, oh, I don't have razor burn anymore, or oh my goodness, I was really dry and my hands don't feel, like I just left the shop anymore. Because like the hand scrub is unbelievable at getting grease and grime and callus away.
Hmm.
But trying to convince them of that.
Hmm.
So a lot of them, they'll go home, they'll use their partners a little, they'll come in, they'll kind of ask me a question here. It's really cute. So marketing to men is very subliminal,
Hmm.
in just that it works. And so then they'll use it after they've tried it. So
Okay.
100% it's for guys, but it's not who I'm speaking to at all. They just get the luck of it after that. Like I'll joke with them. I'm like, especially if a couple comes in, I'm like, you wash my back, I'll wash yours. Don't forget, like I come up with some really silly things,
Hmm.
but it kind of makes them recognize the fact that, hello, I guess I have skin too. I guess I can use it, really cute. So I
I
do.
mean,
I get such a kick out of it.
it seems like you've got some great like one-liners. I mean, to me, it seems like you're like a natural salesperson.
Thank you.
Um,
Only for this. I couldn't sell you an expensive shirt when the one I buy is from, Marshalls or TJ Maxx, what I mean? It's
I mean, you believe in your products, and I guess that makes it easy.
that's why.
Can you take me to when you started the business? And to me, it seems like your business kind of um, came about organically, and your products came about kind of organically. Can you share, like, was there any kind of investment at the beginning, and how did you get your first customers, and how did you realize that, yes, I can create a business out of this product that I've created?
So the beginning, I really will credit to, I made it for myself, and the thought of selling it was, not even, so I give that to my late sister, because she loved going to craft fairs. So the thought of selling at them for her was just the greatest thing in the world. So that's how we got our first customers, was, just signing up for whatever table would have us, a holiday fair, a school function, really, truly anything. And we just packed the car, and, if it was 7 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, we showed up. So that's really, I would say that's the number one thing to entrepreneurship, showing up. You're gonna fall flat on your face. Some ideas are gonna completely, be horrific. You're gonna spend stupid money depending, but keep showing up. So we just kept showing up. And also key, which I still to this minute do in my shop, is emails. You have to have, and I don't call it emails, I call it insiders. And that's, I treat every email with love and respect. People ask me, oh my God, you wouldn't sell my name. I'm like, oh my, this is gold to me. I did a fair, an expo recently. I haven't done one of those in a long time. And I collected a bunch of emails, like 29, I think it was. It was amazing. And I said, as much as I loved obviously making money that day and meeting new people, that for me was the number one aspect of the whole entire day, was that I have this opportunity to now speak to them in the future, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's really awesome. Is your manufacturing, like, as you've grown, can you share a little bit about how were you creating your products in-house, and are you still, like, what does your manufacturing look like? Have you outsourced some of your manufacturing? Do you have like in-house people who are doing some of your product manufacturing? How are you creating your product?
So everything here, I can turn my computer a little. If you could see that door right there, leads to our manufacturing room. So absolutely everything that we sell with our brand name on it, except the shampoo and conditioner, we manufacture in-house. I didn't sort of want to go down that path. So I found one that I had been using myself for years, that I was purchasing under another label. And, it turned out I actually knew who the formulator was. But anyway, so that I will private label, but everything else we make in-house. My soap maker, I'll give her my fragrances. She'll make our soap for us, so that's a Legna soap, and then I have my friend Sandy. And so she earns the purple sage, and she makes this incredible, it's a cross between a bath bomb and a bubble bath. I give her some of my scents. She'll create, so like products that I don't want to create myself, I have maker friends that make, so I still get to market and sell products that I am wild for, because I use them myself. I respect them. They're made with amazing ingredients, but I don't have to actually make them myself, things like that. So that's cool. Oh, sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm assuming that's a friend, or
It's one of my best friend's moms.
Okay.
That's really funny. She must be in town today. So sorry, everyone.
So do you consider, I mean, it seems like, when you collect email addresses, like of people who you're interacting with, maybe in person, is your business now more of like an online business where you're most of your focus is like building the list online, or is your focus still on building that community, meeting people face to face and collecting email addresses, and then of course you're communicating with them later? But do you consider, are you still more very focused on building a community kind of a business, or building an online business?
Yes.
Both. Okay.
No, it's realizing that I didn't finish the question before. So what started with that, with the emails, and what my mentors really pushed, is that, social media is building your house on someone else's foundation.
Yeah.
And so of course I'll use that somewhat. But on the flip side, it's the conversation that I get to have with my audience directly is unbelievable. Here, I don't know if I should turn this, but is unbelievable that I can long form conversations. They can email me back. I can answer them. I can, really create a community online that is equal to the community that I have built, in the, here in the store.
Okay, cool. And are you selling right now? Is it really just your online storefront that you sell through? Have you used like online marketplaces like, Etsy or eBay or Amazon?
No,
Can you share a little bit about your sales channels?
I know, look, plenty of people have, and they have great success, and so I'll never talk down about it. Maybe because I started my online close to 17 years ago, some of those didn't even exist, and I was piecing it together with what I had learned from the previous business, and so that I kind of just always wanted my own real estate. I kept saying that. So because I already had an online presence with my own website, I kind of never wanted to go there. Someone had approached me with the Amazon thing. Part of me says, should I have, there's really two schools of thought. Some people love it and want it. It wasn't what I was looking for. I didn't want to dilute my, in fact, one person tried at one point, this is many, many years ago. And I was really proud of the fact that I guess, because it was more of like he was willing to try and had just like purchased 12 drawers and figured he would see. He said that every time he kept putting stuff in, he kept getting it back to my website. So at that point, my SEO was sort of better that he was willing to spend the money and generate. And so I was like, I might as well just keep it on there. But for some people, like I have a cousin who owns a business, and he just couldn't believe, he's willing to give up whatever it is, 15%, because the amount it's generating is ridiculous. But he sells like marine supply. I'm selling pampering. I'm selling, so I kind of don't want it to, mine sort of stands out because I don't want it to be lumped into the other amazing brands out there. But that's how I kind of stand above the fray a little bit more. That kind of thing.
Yeah. So it seems like, I mean, for a brand like this or a product category like this, where you have where you, I mean, you're competing with so many other similar kind of products. We're trying to achieve similar results for the. It doesn't really come down to branding and marketing and really communicating your value proposition or your vision to the customer directly, and having them connect with that, so that they're buying from you rather than buying from a different product, which could be a similar thing. And to me, it seems like you do that better in a in-person one-to-one scenario and building that relationship.
The conversation that I try, if you read the copy on my website, I try really hard to bring in that same feeling and understanding and recognizing that people have problems, and I could potentially solve that problem for them. So that kind of love and wraparound, I try really hard to convey. But there's nothing like having people you love come into the store, want to hug you, want to kiss you, see, I mean, like that, people leave here and I'm like, welcome to the family, and so that translates to, again, they can't come in, they're ordering online. They just came in and bought a few gifts. They're sharing it with other people. Those people then can buy online. So that's why my answer prior was yes, because my ultimate goal is to build an incredibly, wonderful, huge online community. But I want each of them to still feel, pretty much just as special as if they had walked into the store.
So this store is kind of a storefront where anybody can walk in, look at your products, touch your products, or is it more like an office? Somebody has to create an appointment?
No. That's again, door open. It's a full shop in the center of a main street of a pretty really vibrant town on Long Island called Farmingdale. What we got lucky in that there's lots of restaurants and bars and cool places to go, but we're one of only like 10 shopping stores. but we're
Okay.
next to the gift store. So it's kind of where like the little shopping area, and then they'll go out and, so they'll come here, then they'll go out for dinner. They'll have a party here, then they'll go out for dinner. They'll go out for dinner or go out for lunch, come here, shop afterwards. So there was a Main Street fair on Saturday. They close off the whole Main Street and it's shopped, vendor. So I love the vibrancy of that kind of one-on-one. But what's lucky is the way that we split it. So like the door here is all our storage. So I've got, extra jars and all of it, so that's that. And then manufacturing is behind us. So we have this sort of like wide space of full storefront and then this whole back space of all production. And we were lucky enough to sort of get it into one space. And because we're an active ingredient, I don't use water, which means that's why you had mentioned before 100% active ingredients is I don't need preservatives because I am a non-water product. So it's just the butters and the oils and the sugar and, so I want to make them in smaller batches. So I would rather produce product 5 and 6 days a week than just have, this big, massive, kind of thing. So we're always rolling over smaller batches. Yeah. So the amount of space that we have back there has luckily, been enough. It's been great.
In terms of your online marketing and customer acquisition, of course, the advantage of online is that you can access, markets that are not local, and you can, if one is able to communicate the value proposition and the brand properly, I mean, you can attract so many more customers through this channel. How are you using online and to bring in more customers for your business?
So again, I did so many little things in the beginning that I going back to my accidental entrepreneurship. I didn't really know how to market shy of, short of, that one-on-one and that. So I kind of went with my strengths. So social, I absolutely have a social presence. My Instagram, my Facebook, I kind of picked, the two that I could work the most. I was too old and at that point, I was like not getting into the TikToking. And I know people are making a lot of money, all those other stuff. So what I did instead is realize that what gives you the most credibility besides putting ads in things, and that's being picked up in magazines and getting, PR and stuff. So I want to say I started it earlier, but I really started getting good at it around 2010. Help a reporter out. And it's a way for you to connect with other writers or journalists that are looking for, that one, like an answer to their own question. And so I've been picked up at this point now over 150 times. And so I even wrote a book on how to, get free publicity. So getting PR has been tremendous. Another thing that was huge for us, which was really super fun, was, and it started from a Harrow thing, was we were on Bravo TV. The guy from $1 Million Listing, Ryan Serhant, they gave him his own show for one season called Salt Lake Serhant. So we were an episode on Salt Lake Serhant. And so, I mean, that opened us up to an audience. It was like unbelievable. I wish they gave him a second season because they would have had repeats then. But so we've picked up pockets. And what I also chose to do, again, Harrow, is every, 4 times a week, they put out a gift bag inquiry. So I'll look and see if anyone's, if it's a right fit. So just recently, I donated 60 jars to a women's event right here on Long Island. Age demographic is perfect. If my cost was a few $100s for sure. But if I had placed an ad in a paper that's a possible one-off, that they can't touch, they can't smell, they can't see. This is 60 women holding my jar. So charitable events, that was a big jar. Charitable events, we have, I don't know if I have one here, I don't, a 2-ounce size. I'll donate 100 of those. So I found ways of spreading the name, without, again, we tried some ads and things like that. And unless you've got a really obscene amount of money to throw at that kind of thing,
Hmm.
Skincare is a tough one to have advertisement for. Again, I didn't
Hmm.
have the money for TV. I didn't, or that constant push, push, push.
Hmm.
I didn't, I could have hired, I did for a little while, but it just didn't feel as authentic. Like a team to sort of help. I was like, let me do the things that, and that's, again, probably one of the pieces of advice I would give is to treat customers the best you can. Then they'll bring customers back. Do it the way that feels comfortable, because
Hmm.
then doing it's easy. Like you
Hmm.
said, you see my passion. I'm in love with my own business.
Hmm.
It's easy to, when I get to see people smile and come in here and I just made their day, or, oh my God, I got it as a gift. Like, you can't put a price on that. But then it's the still showing up. It's the making sure that, some people who forget you get your email once a week, staying top
Hmm.
of mind. So there's all these little pockets that you can layer and combine onto loving on people in the first place.
Yeah, and you mentioned Haro. I mean, Haro is a great resource. Help a reporter out. I was recently trying to get on there, and I think what they have done now is they've put some criteria, like you have to meet, you have to be in like top 300,000 online sites or something like that. So they've definitely made it a little bit difficult. But you're saying that you're still working with them quite actively.
Well, I just get, I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, because some people pay for it. And I think the paid version gets you the queries much quicker, because there are some
Okay.
that have very tight deadlines. And you can stockpile your answers in there's a form within the Harrow site. So there
Okay.
was definitely something, for a while I was a paid member, definitely benefits. But admittedly, I got so good at, saving the information anyway. Like I have a folder that's just for Harrow. I've got my bio that's, ripe and ready, that I'm
Hmm.
always looking at, making sure it's tweaked properly. Other queries that I've done in the past but they could have been from 3 years ago, might very suit something. And
Hmm.
so that I'll pick it up and tweak it to make it, new and
Hmm.
fresh, but then resubmit it so I didn't have to rewrite a whole thing.
Hmm.
So I got really good at answering them, even if they're, the deadline is 2 hours from when I'm
Hmm.
looking at the email. I got really good at answering them. And I would say that you kind of find a formula that works for you, because like I'll get busy and do something, it'll be holiday season and I'm not answering any of them because it's just too busy. And
Hmm.
then the minute I go back to it, all of a sudden I'm getting picked up again. It might only be 1 out of 10. That's okay. There's a lot of people doing this, but so what I have found is the best way to game that system, that, for lack of a better way to do it, really
Hmm.
just answer it properly, is to be authentic, is
Hmm.
to answer the question. Don't be like, oh, I'll just give them a little taste of it because I don't want to give too much information. No, they don't. Click, delete. They don't
Hmm.
want that. The reporter wants you to speak directly to solve it's the same thing I'm doing here.
Hmm.
Problem, a customer comes in, they have dry
Hmm.
skin, I want to solve their problem. So if a reporter has a question that they need answered, I want to
Hmm.
solve their problem.
Hmm.
So press will look, and thank them.
Hmm.
One of the greatest things that I was a Fox News reporter in Dallas when I had this other business, had said to me, he's like, it's amazing how many people came to him looking for publicity, but the
Hmm.
minute he gave it to them, they like forgot that he existed. They forgot to thank him for
Hmm.
doing right, and stuff like that. And so it's thanking them, building relationships, with any customer, but with anything. And then they'll write about your business when they need something to. I recently got an email from someone who, it's been 3 years since the last time
Hmm.
she wrote about us. She's like, what do you got going on for the holidays?
Hmm.
Thanks, because it's at that point it's an almost guarantee that even if it's a one line in the newspaper that
Yeah,
they're writing, or the column they're writing for, they're going to include you because they like you, because you showed up for them before.
definitely. And you're able to connect all these different opportunities to actual people visiting your site or coming to your
Yes,
storefront and buying. You're
yes,
able to. Okay.
yes. And
So
what's cool also with newsletter, with email, is I can quantify. I use Klaviyo. There's a bunch of them out there, but I
yeah.
find that the analytics in there, I can directly see when an email went out and who clicked and who spent money based on that email, and so how it's
Okay.
resonating with them as well.
Okay. What does your team look like right now?
What does my what look like? I'm sorry.
Team.
My team is
Yes.
actually the woman that you saw, well, not the one that kissed me,
Okay.
is when I lost my late sister, Michelle, my best
Okay.
friend from growing up, had always filled in for us during when we were doing trade shows or things like that. She would sort of, help us run things. So she kind of stepped in and did it. So she's now basically vice president in charge of production. So she handles all that. And then we just have a woman who comes in like 10 hours a week to fill in the blanks. If I need to step in and, do a private label order, or, if she was on vacation and, I got 3 orders that week, I'm in the back. So right now we're like 2 full-time and a
Hmm.
small part-time.
Okay.
And I don't
On your
necessarily want to be that much bigger,
okay. Okay. And that's a personal choice.
Absolute personal choice. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I do see on your website, like you have a section which is private label and wholesale. Is that a big part of your business? Like, um, you know, instead of selling one-to-one to customers, like uh, you're able to get your products to more people through. Of course, with private labeling, it will not be your brand anymore.
But that's okay. And I actually like it better. The wholesale that we do, I'm lucky enough to be in about 6 stores that I love. The owners of the shops, they sell through beautifully. They love the product themselves. They use it. That's the kind of shop I want to be in, a smaller shop. Because at one point we were in Whole Foods and we were in a much larger, I thought I wanted to be that business. That's why
Okay.
when you ask me that question, is it by choice? It's very much by choice. Because
Mm,
I was on this trajectory of just being this big wholesaler and
mm,
online. And when we got our first place, and customers like, oh, could I just pick up at the store, please, or at the place? At that point, it wasn't really a store. I don't want to pay
mm,
shipping. Is it okay? And I just realized how much I loved my customers, and I
mm,
really loved one-on-one. I
mm,
recognize that I am more of a shopkeep that
mm,
happens to have an online business and we manufacture it versus this big brand business.
mm,
So we pulled ourselves out of those locations because it was, I would stand there and I would demonstrate, and when I had that relationship, it was fine. But anyway, so the shops that we're in, they're small and boutiquey, and they just understand the brand.
mm,
They sell through, it's great. But because we're a handmade brand, we've got like a 14-month shelf life. Sometimes it'll go longer, but basically that's roughly it. If I'm in a ton of stores and I sort of can't keep an eye on, is everything good? How are you doing? And they're not selling through, a
mm,
customer is going to pick up something that might be expiring in 6 months.
mm,
So I'm very particular for the wholesale aspect. Private label, on the flip side, exploded during COVID because there was a lot of people home during that where they weren't working. And so they were like, would you sell it to me by the gallon, 2 gallons, so I could jar it myself? And we were like, oh, that's genius. Yes.
mm,
And so I mentioned earlier about how mentors were so important to me.
mm,
Private label allows me to give back in a way I never dreamed possible. So I was mentored by, this indie business network in particular. Donna Marie is incredible. And all the people in that group, everyone just shares. It's so wonderful.
mm,
There's competition, but not in the worst way, in the best way. So there's a
mm,
lot of camaraderie and collaboration, et cetera. So because I was mentored that way, I was like, ooh, who can I help?
mm,
And so private label, they're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I want to start a business. And so I got to offer them the things that worked for me, things that didn't. Here, you're going to still make some of your own mistakes. However, you might
mm,
not have to make this mistake, that mistake, and this mistake.
mm,
But the best part is that, and I say this respectfully,
mm,
is that if they succeed,
mm,
then they're coming back and they're ordering more product.
mm,
So we're both making money. But if they don't succeed, they're not taking my brand and
mm.
making it anything less.
Okay.
So private label it's given me this incredible, it's really trifold. We get to make money, I get to mentor, and it doesn't get to change the reputation of my brand if they're not selling it properly or they're not, doing, what they need to market it properly.
I mean,
So
that's
I
really
love it.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting because if an entrepreneur is a great marketer and they're trying to break into an industry, I guess private labeling is a great way, because you can take great products private label products, package them in your own, packaging, and if they're a great brand maker or marketer, they can start. I mean, they don't even have to work with one brand; they can work with multiple brands and have like a curated set of products.
Yep.
And really, I mean, it could be great as a way to test the market. Like if it works, then they can start maybe perhaps manufacturing their own things. But yeah, I mean, it seems like an interesting way to break into a new market, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
no, we love it. I really, really love it.
um, in every entrepreneur's journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned, failures. Since the time that you have been running your business, what have been some of your lessons learned, entrepreneurial lessons learned that other entrepreneurs can benefit from?
Um, God, I mean, again, I made plenty. If you don't make mistakes, I think you're not doing it right. I can't stress that enough, because every time you peel yourself off the floor, after crying and screaming and, oh my God, you recognize, okay, well, I'm not going to do it that way anymore. So I'm going to do it this way. And so it's that. It's not being afraid to fail. I'm having a support system, for I had my sister right away, but some of our, she was more marketing retail-y and I was marketing this way, but I almost wish I had a real business person, because that was not my strongest point, to guide me. And so I definitely spent money in the beginning that I didn't need to spend. A really good example is that when I trademarked, I was always trademarked because I had interstate commerce. That's the TM, but to get the registered trademark, you actually have to register with the US PTO. And my late sister's fiance at the time was a lawyer, and he's like, I could do it for you. And, we were so grateful, and it saved us money, but that wasn't his wheelhouse. And so there had been some issues with it, and it was rejected. And, he never followed up to finish through. So cut to, 4 or 5 years after that, when I was like, okay, now I have the money and I got to do it right. And I hired the proper attorney. Thank you, Andrea Evans. She still, there was some problems, but she circumnavigated and figured out the best way. And all of a sudden I had my registered trademark, and so finding a team, spending the right money, doing it right. What we did do right in the very beginning is, obviously setting up as a business, incorporating, you never want to have personal liability if you can get away with that. Things that I did that are really cheap to do, but still protective, is I must own 20 domain names that are similar to ScrubzBody. You know what I mean? Not just the .nets and the .orgs, but it's just the Scrubs with the S, and so that no one else that comes up with something similar can grab that as a domain name. And if you type that in, even if you make a mistake, it directs you right back to mine. Keeping an eye out. I'm always looking and doing searching. Is anyone, taking my trademark? What are they doing? Reaching out, so that protection, is really important. I said showing up, not being afraid to do the work. I know that statement comes up, but some days I'm just like, whatever happened in my life, I have an elderly mom, and, so stuff like that. But it's just like, no, okay, I have a list. I need to at least get that done. And even if it's just those 2 things and not the 15 things, I'm taking success in getting those done. Giving yourself a break. Like, these all go hand in hand with it's life. You know what I mean? It's everything. It's just a step. Sometimes you have to step backwards and then you go 10 steps. And so that's what I've seen the most. But the number one thing is treating customers like they are the gold they are, because they have a choice of where to spend their money. And if they're choosing to spend it with you, then you need to remind them every day how grateful you are that they're doing such a thing. So that, so all that other stuff is, sort of the, I don't know, I guess the dinner, but the dessert and the cherry on the top and all the icing and all the other cool, fun stuff, all the extra calories you're not supposed to have, but you really want, that's customer service.
Yeah. That's great. So now we're going to move on to our rapid fire segment. And in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions and you have to answer them maybe in 1 or 2 words or a sentence or so. So the
Okay.
first one is one book recommendations for entrepreneurs in 2022 and why?
Okay, so one book was hard, but I think Professional Troublemaker by Luvvie Ajayi Jones, I just absolutely adored. It really sets you in that motion of don't be afraid to ruffle a few feathers and ask the important questions and get it done. I really enjoyed that book a lot.
An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
So in the natural space, I would have to say Mama Suds toilet bombs, which is a super cool way to clean your toilet bowl and the tank around it and diaper pails and stuff in a little citric bomb without having to, use all that chemical gunk. And what I mentioned before is my friend Sandy from the Purple Sage makes a bubble that I was not a bath taker for a long time again. I'm on the scrub shower all the way. And she's like, oh, just try it. And she made me a bath taker again. So it's like bubbles on top and bath bomb underneath, and just it's really good.
Okay. A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend or a productivity tip?
Oh, Dropbox, hands down. Or any service like that where I can just be anywhere and access files, save it to it, pick it up at home, bring it off my phone, not have to have it all on the computer. It just Dropbox all the way. I use it every day, all day.
Yeah, cloud services. A startup or business in e-commerce, retail, or tech that you think is currently doing great things. I know you gave an example already, but
yeah, so I would say I just recently started taking them. I'm really enjoying the whole concept too, is but it's a long name, so it's funny, I spelled it out. So it's Ka and Pathogenics. So it's KAEMPATHOGENICS.com. And it's basically Kana, which is a natural sort of uplifting plant root, 100% natural, 0 calories. Like I had looked at, the tinctures and I had looked at other things and I came across them on Instagram and I was really impressed. And so I started about 2 weeks ago and I just find, a little bit of focus, a little bit of it, it's like a nice, because I don't drink coffee. So, I don't have that caffeine buzz in the morning. And so I'm finding that just like one of the juice is really cool in the morning. So I've been pretty impressed with them. I'm not quite sure when they started. It could be 6 months, a year. I have no idea, but I was so happy I found them.
Okay. A peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to or someone who inspires you?
Oh God, so many. So let's see. I would say Ash Amberjay of the Middle Finger Project, but now she's called the Vivant. She changed it. Her book, The Middle Finger Project, I took her writing course, which she called, oh my God, shame on me. I think it was called Meat and Bread. It was basically like the guts and the love, everything put together. And it just made me look at writing to my customers in a whole different way, how to market, how to think. So like everything she says is just pure gold. She's got a website also from Costa Rica with love because she lives there 6 months of the year. I read that religiously. I'm planning on like one day going there just to like, so I find that she allowed me to make business writing fun, which I always hated to do, and allowed me an opportunity to talk to my customers, like I was mentioning, online in the same language that I speak to them, because here I'm a hugger and I'm in this, and sometimes the sentences run on. Obviously, I'm a talker, and so she gave me that permission to speak that online language the same way that I speak in the shop.
Okay. So it's, I'm assuming it's more like a copywriting.
She's yes. And someone
expert.
in my own space. I'll give a shout out to Charlene Simon, who owns Bathhouse Apothecary. She has 2 stores in Arkansas, and I think in Missouri is the second one. But anyway, she's like the queen of gorgeous, beautiful marketing, and sort of everything she touches looks like gold. So she's another one that I really, really, really inspires me.
Okay. And final question. Best business advice you ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
Treat customers like they're your only customer. I'll just go back to customer service. It just will always come back to you always, always, always have to remember that you have no money, you have no business if you have no customers. And
Yeah.
so if they're just chits on a spreadsheet, maybe you'll get them once, maybe you'll get them twice, but if you want them to come back for the life of your brand, you got to treat them with love. So that's
Cool.
it. Number one.
Well, Roberta, those were all the questions that I had for you today. Thank you again so much for sharing your story, for sharing your entrepreneurial story, and all the different things you tried and strategies and tactics that you used to start and grow your business. If someone watching this interview wants to get in touch, or wants to buy your product, or what is the best way they can connect with your business?
So Scrubs with a Z, ScrubzBody.com. I am /ScrubzBody across all socials, and email directly, and I'll answer you directly, is greatskin@ScrubzBody.com.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you again, Roberta. Really, really appreciated your time today. And thank you again for joining me today at Trip Talk.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.